Hi, how's it going? So today I thought I'd draw some shapes, mainly as a bit of a warm-up because it's been a while since I've done one of these drawing videos, and it's also been a few days since I've done any drawing myself. So something that's sort of low pressure for me, and a warm-up, like I said. Now, I won't be following any perspective grids or anything like that. That's not typically how I go about doing these sorts of things. I do practice that, but I tend to do it in Photoshop. I'll get other artists' work or photos and I'll try and find the perspective in those sorts of things. And then if something really calls for it in a more finished work, like a commission or the comic book that I'm working on, I will sometimes throw up a horizon line or that sort of thing. But for these kinds of drawings, I'm very relaxed about it. If something's not quite right, it doesn't really matter. And I think, as I've mentioned before, I am a big fan of making those sorts of mistakes anyway. And every now and again, I'll throw one of these drawings into Photoshop and sort of assess what went wrong, what went right, if I can get my words out. But yeah. So try and keep things relatively varied. I try and throw one of those in there. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've done any shapes, to be honest. Around March I got really into trying out more complicated shapes. And more recently, I've evolved this into drawing buildings, very sort of fantastical looking, nonsensical buildings, which are basically made up of these shapes with a little bit more detail on. Now, I'm still new to that. I don't think I'm quite ready to record myself doing one of those kinds of things, but I will in the near future once I've got a bit more used to it. I'm not necessarily I won't be ashamed if I made loads of mistakes or anything like that. It's just I don't think it'd be overly interesting to watch me redo something again and again. Or maybe it would. Let me know. So already it's gone a little bit wonkums, but it also adds a bit of character, and I kind of like that a bit more than something that's overly rigid. Should we have these moving up? So, yeah, how are you doing? If you've made it this far into the video, let me know what you've been up to, if you'd like. I kind of want these videos to be conversational and sort of no stress, almost like something you could throw on in the background and hopefully draw along to. Sort of see it as a study along, a study buddy, if that doesn't make your skin crawl. But yeah, yeah, what have you all been up to? For me, it's just been the same sorts of things. I think the last video I did was potentially when I was in Hillsborough, in my old house, which is in Sheffield, UK. And now I've moved over to Bolsover, which is in Derbyshire, which isn't too far away. And there's a lot more countryside. And it's taken a little bit of getting used to, as these things do. But I feel like I'm at a stage now where I can hopefully start doing these sort of videos a little bit more regular, or that's the plan. I am planning to do, well, originally I was planning to do one maybe once a day, but I don't think my laptop would appreciate that too much. It tends to kick out a right stink when I'm doing these videos, even just edit it, because I'd make slight adjustments to the volume in Logic. And yeah, it doesn't really like any of that, so. Now, typically I'd add a little bit more height, but I've sort of cornered myself with some of this. So I'll maybe add a big thing here. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done anything like this. And by a while, I mean like maybe a month or so. And it's surprising how quick you don't necessarily lose anything, but it's definitely something that has to be refreshed, I find. Especially things that are from imagination like these are now. I do get questions in regards to drawing from imagination and where to start and building confidence, and this is the one thing that I would recommend. Now, it's difficult for me to really recommend anything because I've been drawing since I was a toddler, and I've been drawing without references since, like, the period I spent drawing from references is only the last couple of years. Before that, I never really used to do it. I'd do it every now and again. But I was very much focused on just doodling. So it's kind of hard to know where to recommend someone starting with that sort of thing. It is just, you build your confidence up over time. And you've got to sort of see it as, well, you're going to make lots of mistakes, just have fun with it. Enjoy the process. Because you don't have to show anyone anything. You know, we've all got to work things out. And if you're not comfortable showing, something that's a little bit rough around the edges, don't do it. You don't have to share everything. But I think most people would be impressed or in love with whatever you do. So, you've got to remove yourself from the process, I think, or from the outcome, from the result. Because you've got to, give yourself time to get comfortable with something, to get good at something if you really want to become good at it. So, right, so we'll throw a few more down and then I'll call this video done. So I've moved away from trying to do anything that sort of makes sense in a perspective way from this. I mean, it kind of does, I suppose. It sort of slopes up a little bit. It's something I'll try and do in a later video, because again, I'm going to practice it a little bit more. Over the past couple of months, I feel like I was figuring it out, but because it's been a while, this isn't quite going to plan. But it's always good to practice. It's always good to do a little bit of nonsense in order to warm up. So another good thing to practice, I find, is to pick a shape, like with these cubes, and give them a direction in order to move them. Try and do them from different angles. And again, you don't have to follow a grid or anything like that necessarily. You could, and again, that'd be really, really good practice. But I think there's a lot to be said for just drawing, for just doodling. So open yourself up to mistakes and try and clear your mind of thoughts. Theory is great and it's good to learn certain things, but it can also put you in the mindset of everything that you do is slightly wrong. And it's not really like a right or wrong, I find, with these sort of things. All depends on the intent and the outcome that you're after, of course, but if you're just wanting to get better at drawing, just draw. And if you want to learn more about the fundamentals, do that. But I think you've got to have drawn a few sketchbook worth of doodles and scribbles and workings out before you even think about learning anatomy or gesture or perspective or whatever. Like, it's just have fun with it. Right, so this video is getting longish, so I will stop in a sec. But I do plan to do another video this week. We'll maybe move on to something a little more challenging. I might do some skulls or some no reference kind of things. I mean, feel free to let me know what you'd like to see me do, and I'll try and do that. It might not be straight away, but I will get around to it at some point, I'm sure. Right, so we'll leave it there, just over 15 minutes. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. As always, you know, the likes and all of that sort of thing. I do have a Patreon. If you would like to support me and the channel, that's always appreciated. It's just a $3 thing. I try and post at least once a week, something that I'm working on behind the scenes. And I do throw up some tutorial videos on there as well, just like loose little exercises. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, it's there. But if you just want to watch these, that's perfect. You know, I appreciate that just as much. And that'll be the end of the waffle. So toodaloo. I'll see you again soon. Bye.